Welcome to another episode of Larry's Rants, Raves, and Reviews! Now, it's the moment that you have all been waiting for. Here comes the man, the myth, the legend, my papa! Here's Larry!
You know, the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and that probably the day or two after, X and TikTok and different social media platforms were blowing up, people were celebrating. I never thought that I would see my country so perverted that they would actually celebrate someone being murdered and someone being assassinated over freedom of speech. Everybody wants to cry out about freedom of speech, but what freedom of speech really means to a liberal is you agree with me. That's it. You have to agree with me. Anything that is different is considered hate speech. I sat down, and as I started seeing all the left liberal people, all the crazies of the world, I sat down and grabbed immediately a legal pad. And as you can see, I started with this legal pad, writing down names and locations. Oh, you got Lisa Greenlee from Greensboro, North Carolina. She's a professor there. Here's a realtor by the name of Mark. He's a realtor from Las Vegas, and he's on the board of directors there. You got TMZ that you heard cheering in the background as they pronounced that Charlie Kirk had actually passed away. You've got Chris from Minnesota, a Roosevelt High School teacher. You've got Dr. John Virgil from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Oh, and the list goes on and on. And I thought, boy, I'm going to get on my podcast, and I'm going to read every name and location, and I'm going to ask for everybody to boycott them. And the list kept growing and growing and growing. Here's Christopher from Gentle Care Animal Hospital in Edmond, Oklahoma. You've got a Secret Service agent. You have people that are in the Army. Here's Jeff, a teacher from Sand Springs, Oklahoma. You've got Dr. Billie Jean Miller, a high school counselor. Wouldn't you love to have that person be your child's high school counselor? And I mean, you've got here is a Delta Airline and American Airline pilot and a flight crew that mocked and laughed at the fact that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Now, wouldn't you think that if we're going to entrust our lives to people when we're 30,000 feet in the air, that we want somebody just a little more sane and that had a little more morals than that? I mean, now here's a TikToker. I guess she goes by the name of Nori Bell. She did a TikTok that was celebrating the fact that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and she says, "I'm surprised that y'all didn't get rid of him sooner, and I'm surprised that you guys aren't getting rid of more people like." Don't stop with him. Don't let him be the end dog. Get rid of them all. She said this on a now viral clip. I mean, here's an article that I read. It said 3 teenagers got online and was holding a prayer vigil for Charlie Kirk. They got online and sent their artwork to Office Depot. They arrived at Office Depot and said, hey, we're here to pick up our posters that we paid for and ordered online. It's for a prayer vigil. When they arrived, an Office Depot and a supervisor and a manager arrogantly informed them that their posters weren't going to be printed. And they said, why? The Office Depot manager told them, we don't print propaganda. Now, I've got to tell you that this is something that if those two people still have their jobs, one of them was a he/she. I mean, looking at the picture, I don't know whether I'm looking at a man or a woman. These are the type of people that are employed. Tim Griffin, our Attorney General here in Arkansas, we had a law professor at UALR by the name of Felicia Branch that was so excited that Charlie Kirk was killed. He was murdered. She got on social media and she was celebrating the fact. Tim Griffin got on and online and said the First Amendment protects your right to say what you want. It does not, however, guarantee you the job you want, regardless of what you want to say. And he claims, and he asked, that the law school terminate her immediately. And I think that they actually did. Folks, these are people that we entrust with our lives, and these are people that are indoctrinating our future lawyers, possibly judges. I never dreamed that America would become so perverse. I mean, we have perverted the minds of Americans, and we have escalated and we have put people into position that are now celebrating the murder and assassination of Charlie Kirk. From Navy Petty Officer, here's a public DA from Montana, teachers and professors from all over the country. Ladies and gentlemen, if this doesn't send a signal to you that you need to start believing more and more into homeschooling, I don't know what will. I've got to be honest with you. When my children were younger, I just couldn't buy into the idea of homeschooling. I said, you can't raise your children in a bubble. And I had a lot of voices speaking into my head then. Well, guess what? They're no longer speaking into my head. I'm thinking for myself. Yeah, I can tell you right now, homeschooling, that's the answer as far as I'm concerned. And if this doesn't present a pretty strong and healthy case, you have children from, I'm talking kindergarten, grade school, and college. They're perverting our children's minds. They're indoctrinating them into liberalism, into communism. I kid you not. This is happening across America. Doctors, nurses, people in the medical field have celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination and murder. Here's a Christian nurse who bravely pushed back against the doctor celebrating Charlie Kirk. It says, Dr. Matthew Young said in front of everyone, I hate Charlie Kirk. He had it coming. He deserved it. And Lexi, one registered nurse, was the only one that spoke up. And she says, you're a doctor. How could you say someone deserved to die? Lexi said you could hear a pin drop and no one said anything, including the patient. And after she got home, she received an email from her union representative saying she needs to look for another job. Lexi was also pulled into a meeting and suspended without pay indefinitely, depending on investigation. Well, she was one of them that we kept blowing up social media, saying that this doctor needs to be the one to be fired. And guess what? Because we, the people, spoke up on social media, that's exactly what happened. She got her job back, and the doctor was unemployed. I mean, folks, this is just sad. And I would like to say that so many people, these were just people that didn't mean anything. But no, these are professionals. Those of you that are still big NFL fans, now remember, I divorced the NFL. The first time I saw my Kansas City Chiefs go out at midfield, locked armed in unity, and kneel down in the name of BLM and in support of George Floyd, I divorced the NFL way back then. For those of you that still love the NFL, there were 5 teams that refused to sponsor a moment of silence after Charlie Kirk was murdered and assassination. Those of you that are fans of the NFL, are you a fan of the Ravens, the Bengals, the Detroit Lions, the Colts, and the Vikings? All of them had big moments of celebration and memorials for George Floyd. They had nothing for Charlie Kirk. I guess it didn't fit their narrative. So you go ahead and be a fan of the NFL. Oh, and all my friends, they say, well, Larry, they stopped kneeling. They stopped kneeling during the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, that's kind of like my wife saying, hey, I'm no longer going to sleep with your brother. I'm no longer going to continue my affair with him. My God, people. How much has to happen before you'll finally divorce something or someone? I'd like to say that it was only professionals, but our politicians, some of them were excited to hear about Charlie Kirk's death. Ilhan Omar, the Democratic representative from Minnesota, her vile celebration of the political assassination of Charlie Kirk. Omar mocked Kirk, saying that he got precisely what he deserved, but he was only simply expressing political views. Now, I will give credit to Nancy Mace, the Republican from South Carolina. After this, she called for censorship. And folks, in a vote, 210 Democrats and 4 Republicans sold out and chose to protect Omar, a woman who mocked the cold-blooded assassination of an innocent American husband and father who has openly supported, she has openly supported ISIS and the Muslim Brotherhood and incited violence. 210 Democrats stood with her and 4 Republicans. Mike Hood, the Republican from Nebraska, Jeff Hurd, Republican from Colorado, Tom McClintock, Republican from California, and Corey Mills, the Republican from Florida, they voted to not censor her. Well, Nancy, it was a good opportunity and a good try to censor her. But the rhinos in our party, in the Republican Party, they chose to defend her and not the American people. Folks, don't tell me both sides are the same. Don't tell me both sides of the aisle are guilty, because they're not guilty. Stop preaching this unity and kumbaya stuff. Because let me tell you, the left hates us. The left hates America. They're demonic. Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast is all about the simple fact: the perversion that's in America runs so deep and so rapid. Oh, it's horrendous to think that anyone would celebrate the death of an American who simply loves his country and was preaching the gospel of Christ. We're not the same. And the left, the politicians, they keep calling for more violence, and they keep up their rhetoric. And that's exactly what you're going to see in America if they continue. God forgive America. It's hard for me to sit here and say, or to sing the song, God Bless America, because all I can truly think and all I could truly sing would be, God forgive America. I'll see you next time.